And welcome to Growth of Economics. I am Dr. Bawa. A big thank you to all those who have watched my videos and have subscribed and have shared and have commented. I'm so grateful for your support. And a big shout out to Selena and all her mates. I hope you do enjoy this video and I hope you do find it very beneficial. Okay, so what do we have today? Our topic today is terms of trade. And this video looks at part 1 of terms of trade. In part 2, I will be looking at the implications of terms of trade for economy. So if you do enjoy this video, please do like it, do share it, subscribe, and then comment. Okay, so let's get into what we have today. Okay, so what is terms of trade? TOT for short. So TOT can be defined as the amount of a country's exports that can purchase 1 unit of imported goods and services. And that's the amount of a country's exports that can purchase 1 unit of imported goods and services. Okay. In other words, TOT refers to how many units of exports are required to purchase 1 unit of imports. That's how many units of exports are required to purchase 1 unit of imports. Okay, before we even get into the details of what TOT actually means, it is important to understand that it is essentially good news, okay, if more of a country's exports, okay, purchase 1 unit of imports than it is for fewer of a country's exports to purchase 1 unit of imports. Okay, let me say that again. It is essentially good news, okay, if more of a country's exports, okay, purchase 1 unit of imports than it is for fewer of a country's exports to purchase 1 unit of imports. Okay, so how do we calculate TOT? What's the formula for calculating TOT? Okay, so TOT is essentially the average price of a country's exports, okay, relative to the average price of imports. Okay, average price of exports relative. In other words, we are comparing, okay, price of exports to price of imports. And the formula is written the following way. Okay, so TOT being equal to index of export prices divided by the index of import prices, and then we multiply that by 100. Okay, so to illustrate this formula, okay, I would like to use UK's trade, okay, for 2021 and 2022. Okay, yeah. So let's assume that in 2021, okay, the value of a UK's export was £1,000. Of course, in practice, okay, these amounts are into the billions, okay, but because I want to get my point across, I just want to use very simple numbers, okay, so very simple numbers, okay. And in 2021, the value of UK's exports was £1,400. Okay. Now, 2022, the value of UK's exports £1,200. Okay, and the value of UK's exports, okay, for 2022, £1,800. Okay, so using this information, we should be able to calculate, okay, UK's terms of trade for the year 2022. Okay, so in this table, okay, you can see the information from the previous slide. Okay, so what we need to do, okay, is to first of all convert these amounts into indices. Okay, convert this amount into indices. In calculating index numbers or indices, okay, we use 1 year as the base year, okay, and that the base year or the amounts in the base year are equal to 100. Okay, so what we're going to do here right now is use 2021 as the base year. Okay, if we do that, then 1,000 becomes 100. 1,000 becomes 100. Okay, and using that information, we can calculate the indices for 2022. Okay, so now using this formula, okay, so the price index for exports, okay, price index for exports, okay, for 2022, okay, would be the value of export as 1,400, which is given here, okay, divided by the base year, that's 1,000, which is given there, and then you multiply by 100, okay, and you get 140, okay. And the price index for imports, okay, would be the value of imports, okay, but that's 1,800 divided by the value of imports in 2021, which is the base year, okay, multiply that by 100 and get 150, okay. So these are indices, so there are no units attached to them, so it's 140, 150, okay. So this table, okay, shows the indices. Okay, so 2021, they're both 100. 2022 was 140 for exports and 150 for imports. Okay, so we should be able to use these figures, okay, to calculate the TOT for UK for 2022. Okay, so going back to the formula, index of export prices divided by the index of import prices multiplied by 100. If we slot in the figures, we have 140 divided by 150 times 100, which is equal to 93.3%. 93.3%. Okay, so what sort of values do we have for TOT? Okay, what sort of values do we have? There are three possible values of TOT. Okay, yeah, you can have a value that is equal to 100%, a value that is above 100%, a value that is, and a value that is below 100%. Okay, so a TOT being equal to 100%, okay, what does that actually mean? Okay, it means that for every 1 unit that a country exports, they import 1 unit. Okay, so what is the significance of this? Okay, it means that the country is neither losing capital nor gaining capital. Okay, so 1 unit of export or 1 unit of imports. Okay, and it is doing so by one or more of the following ways. Okay, number one, either export prices, okay, either export and import prices have remained the same. Okay, and two, export and import prices have changed by the same proportion. Okay, have changed by the same proportion. Okay, now, what about when you have a TOT that is greater than 100? Okay, for example, 200%. Okay, what that means is that for every 2 units that a country exports, okay, they import 1 unit. Okay, for every 2 units that a country exports, okay, they import 1 unit. Okay, so what is the significance of this? Okay, it is positive economic news, okay, because it means the country is gaining capital. Okay, the country is gaining capital. Okay, and it is doing so by one or more of the following ways. Okay, number one, either export prices have risen, okay, whilst import prices have held steady or declined. Two, export prices have remained steady, okay, whilst import prices have fallen. Three, export prices have simply risen at a faster rate, okay, than import prices. Okay, and four, export prices might have fallen, okay, but not as significantly, okay, as import prices. In other words, they have both fallen, okay, but import prices have fallen much further than export prices. Okay, what if we have a TOT that is less than 100? Okay, for example, 90%. What that means is that for every 0.9 unit that the country exports, okay, they import 1 unit. For every 0.9 unit that the country exports, they import 1 unit. Now, what is the significance of this? Okay, so it means that the country is losing capital and is therefore negative economic news. Okay, the country is losing capital and is therefore negative economic news. Okay, and it is doing so by one or more of the following ways. Okay, number one, either import prices have risen, okay, whilst export prices have held steady or declined. Or two, import prices have remained steady, okay, whilst export prices have fallen. Okay. 3, okay, import prices have simply risen at a faster rate than export prices. And 4, import prices might have fallen, okay, but not as significantly, okay, as export prices. In other words, both prices have fallen, okay, but export prices have fallen much further, okay, have fallen much further. Okay, so this is the first part of the video on terms of trade. Okay, in the second part, I will be looking at the implications of TOT for economies. Okay, please do look out for that video. Okay, I hope that you have enjoyed this part 1. Okay, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, please do subscribe. Okay, for more topical content. Okay, in economics. Okay, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.